This is the Yoga and Black podcast, and I'm super glad that you're here. What this show is all about is showcasing Black yoga and wellness professionals from around the world in an attempt to increase more representation in the yoga space and the wellness space. I'm Tierney. I too am a yoga instructor, and I felt a need to not only give you a list of different yoga instructors, but let you get to know them on a more personal basis. So not only is this a chance for me to get to know my peers, this is for you to potentially find your next yoga teacher. So I hope you enjoy the show. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in a little bit. Bye. Welcome back to the Yoga and Black podcast. As always, it is Tierney here with you, and I am sad to say we are having a bittersweet moment. This is our final episode of this season, but I am happy to introduce you all to Tamika Chambers. There's a Takima that's in the season too, so I'm just like, hold on a minute.
What's up, Takima?
Hi, Takima. But no, y'all, this is Tamika Chambers. She's out in Pittsburgh doing amazing things in the yoga community, and I am getting so excited to talk to her. We've already had the most lively chat off camera, so I can't wait for you guys to start getting to know her fun personality. So I'm just going to let you start shining your light. Go ahead and tell us a little bit more about yourself in your own words.
Okay. I am Tamika Chambers, owner of Akimat Yoga Studio. Some people call me a shaman. I don't know why, but they call me a shaman. I'm cool, calm, collective, like to dance, have fun. I'm a little bit of bougie, ratchet, all of those things all in one.
Hey.
That's all what you're going to get when you come, to an event with me. A little bit of everything.
Yes.
So,
I love
and I'm
that.
very much introverted. So this for me.
Like I told you before, you were in good company. Like,
isn't it crazy though, like how we could be introverts and still be yoga instructors?
yeah. Leave
Like,
the room, like doing all this talking in front of all these people and go retreat to the cave.
right. And like when I lead classes, I don't like to stand in the front. That's just the
Yeah.
way that I
Do
was
you walk
taught to.
around?
Yes. I like
Yeah.
to walk around. I don't like to be like the center of attention. And I also don't want people to think they have to have their bodies looking the way mine does in a certain
Yes.
pose. So yeah, I'm the, hey, how you doing? Like, you okay? I'm not
Yeah.
standing up there. Don't look for me. Go inside of your own self and see what that feels like type person.
Truly. Because that was a hard adjustment. During COVID times when it was, scary, new, and no one knew what was going on, when we all kind of shifted to virtual, I was uncomfortable with having to demo so much and be in the front of the room because, the camera's on you and that's all they
Right.
have. So verbal cues can be great, but some folks that doesn't click for. So you do still have to
Right.
demo. And then
Right.
when you moved into, when things started opening up again, a lot of the places that I taught at were both where it was in person, but they had, the iPad up somewhere so that they could still live stream the classes. So I was still having to be on my mat for a good portion of the class. And I'm just sitting here like,
So
this is
uncomfortable.
uncomfortable. I don't know what to
Right.
do. And I'm like trying to be so mindful. It's like, I don't want to alienate the people that are tuning in live, but I don't want to not walk around and be present in the room and doing all this
So many
demo
things.
and not able to focus on the people in the room too.
Right.
Like,
Right.
oh my God.
Right. Because it starts to be hard because I was always taught we're not supposed to take our own class when we're teaching.
Yeah.
And it's hard to not do that when you're demoing because you're like, well, this feels good. I'm trying to do this. And then you're like, oh, wait a minute. Somebody might be fainting over there. I got to go see what's going on.
No.
I mean, that's the reality of it. You just never know.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm so glad you said that because that can be a challenge, especially for any of us, no matter what phase of, the journey you're in, whether you're in the beginning of your journey or been in it for a little while, trying to make sure that your practice stays separate from your teaching those lines can get blurred
Yeah, they
because
can.
yeah, it's real easy, especially if you start teaching a lot, like
Hmm.
making it more of your career rather than just kind of like I work my 9 to 5 and then I teach, sprinkles throughout the week. Where's time for your practice if you're teaching a bunch?
Yeah,
Yeah.
or you're teaching like all over the place. And that became something that was really important to me, is
Mhm.
making sure that I got my own practice in.
Yeah.
Although, let's back up. I'm one of those yoga instructors that I practice all the other limbs so
Yes.
much. This is my year to really get back into my physical practice because I feel
Too.
like I can do kindness and I can do meditation and I can do non-attachment and I can do all of those things. But the physical part of it, it was just like, that's so
Yeah.
much. But in order to make everything align, you have to do it. So this year, I'm much more into my physical practice of it. And boy, is it hard navigating this new body
Yeah.
and everything. It's
Everything's
hard.
changed. Cause like, did you used to have a pretty physical practice?
I did for a while, like on and off, on and off, on and off. And now, like this, it's just different. Like I posted something the other day about getting up in dolphin pose.
Hmm.
I got a lot of junk in this trunk, baby, and trying to hold all this deliciousness up in the air.
Yes.
It
Yeah.
was heavy. It was heavy.
As we grow in age, it's like, oh man, that felt way different when I first encountered this, and now having to readjust, it's hard because I'm in that same boat. I used to do a lot of like Ashtanga and rocket yoga,
Ooh,
and that's real physical.
yes.
And I just I don't know what happened. I just stopped. And I think a
Hmm.
lot of it was because I was teaching so much and just didn't really find time for myself because I was so exhausted from teaching.
Yeah.
And now that I'm trying to rekindle my love for asana as a practitioner, I tried to do a rocket class on my own, just, me just doing the sequence because, it's kind of like a muscle memory kind of a thing at this point. But the muscles remembered, but also were like, eh. Like,
Right.
hold on,
Uh-huh.
we're a little different now, and though that felt familiar, I don't like it.
Right. Right.
So I'm
Right.
just
Pull
having to
back a little bit.
discover. Yes. So I'm
Hmm.
just really rediscovering what my practice looks like. And I'm realizing more and more that I was really forcing myself into Ashtanga and Rocket,
Mm.
even though I
Mm.
prefer more like restorative and yin practices that are much more
Wow.
slow, or hatha even, where, you're taking your time, really just staying in the posture for a while and
Yes.
breathing
Yes.
into it and, really letting it permeate those blockages that I'm wanting to
Right.
release because, whoa, them
I
things
think
build up.
I'm so happy you said that because I was just thinking that the other day while I was, sometimes I'll just turn on music and just go into a flow and just see what it's like. And to be
Hmm.
able to just sit there and do the restorative, but do the hatha where I'm like really taking my time going into the poses and holding it. And
Yeah.
I was like, God damn, I'm sweating and I'm hot and I'm doing all like I don't need power yoga. Like I never really
No.
liked power yoga anyway,
Yeah.
but I can teach a
Same.
class. But I
Yeah.
think a lot of people forget that we don't always have to go quickly through these poses or do the 26 up downs and all of these other things. If
Yeah.
you take your time and really fill out the pose and see what's going on in your body, you're gonna get what you need.
Exactly what you need. Because I love when I have those moments with folks where, like, I used to teach a beginner class at a studio, and it was designed to not necessarily be like vinyasa too much. It was more kind of like hatha based, where it's like, just, give them time to explore the poses and learn
Hmm.
and understand what they are. So I'm like, okay, great. So a lot of people would come into that class thinking, oh, it's easy. I'm like, don't make my eye twitch because
Right,
I
right.
can guarantee you are going to build up a sweat because you are moving
Hmm.
in ways that are not, typical of your body.
Right.
And you're having to be intentional about these things and focus your mind on these things. And that all requires work. And
Yes.
that's going to make you build up heat internally. And the body's going to do what it does and sweat. So
Yep. Yep.
Don't think this is your get out of jail free card as far as it goes with yoga being easy. Yoga's never easy. It's
No,
always
it's
some
not.
type of challenge, whether it's
Right.
physical, mental, spiritual. There's always going to be some type of challenge for you.
That's so true. So
Oof,
true. I I understand. I believe the same thing. I've had a lot of people because I like teaching beginners. I
me
love
too.
teaching beginners, especially the people who say, I don't think I can do yoga.
Ooh,
I
they're
love
my
for them to
favorite.
be, yes, for them to come in and you're like, you don't have to look like that. Like, I don't know what you think the pose was supposed to look like, but just feel it in your body and see. But they're like, I didn't think that I could do this or I could practice or any of
Yeah.
these things. And they leave out like, I'm so surprised with myself. Like you should be because you are able to do yoga. Like I just love teaching beginners and I love teaching people who have been practicing for such a long time, but they don't know
Hmm.
how to hold back because that's a practice in itself as well.
Yeah.
Stop overextending yourself and just take the time to hold back and see what that feels like to you
Hmm.
because you can be in down dog, yeah, that's cool. But how about holding this warrior for a minute and really filling it out? You
Oh
know what I
yeah.
mean? How about sitting in staff pose for a minute and engaging your core and just, pointing your toes up and seeing what that feels like, just sitting there. Because that's a hard pose that people think is very, very easy. And it's not,
Hmm. No,
you know?
1,000%. 1,000%. I love where this is going already, but I'm curious to know more about what got you started in yoga. Could you take us back to those first
Absolutely.
moments? Yeah.
So there was a program in my neighborhood called Healthy Black Families, and I was just like very interested in like what's yoga like, and so I went to a class. My yoga instructor was a black woman, which so it
Yes.
was my first experience with yoga was just beautiful and so on so many different levels because one, I had a black woman teaching yoga, and I never thought black women taught yoga. Number one.
Yeah.
Number two, I was going to this class with all different types of body types, shapes, different age groups. There were a lot of like elderly people in the class, but there were young people too.
Hmm.
But I got to be able to see what it was like for a real yoga class to look diverse. Some people may be in a chair, some people may be on the wall. And when I took that class, started taking those classes, it was something in me that just started feeling different. And never did she use Sanskrit in her classes. Never did she like tell us exactly what the pose was. But one time we did a class where we went in and we didn't even know we were doing meditation. She said, we're just going to sit on our mats. And she turned on Kurt Franklin's Imagine Me. And we had
Nice.
to just sit there with our eyes closed, with our hand over our heart and our stomach.
Hmm.
I released so many things that I was holding on to that I did not know I was holding on to. And I was like, damn, yeah, okay, this is
I've
this
caught the
is
bug.
something.
Yeah.
I've caught it. Now what am I supposed to do? Like my children even started saying, Mom, you're acting a little different because I was rah rah. Like I used to be
Yeah.
like up here, rah rah. But after taking classes and listening to her tell us like slow down. If you're not late to class. Just get here when you get here and get what you can. And
Yeah.
yoga's just not this mat. You know what I mean? It's when you walk. It starts before you come into the door. So it
Hmm.
kind of calmed my whole life, and
Mm,
it was at a time when I really really needed it. But to hear my kids say, "Mom, you're different," I was
that's major.
okay.
That's
Mhm.
major. Like that's the best example I have heard about how yoga can not only impact you but those around you.
Mhm.
And they aren't even practicing it. But
Right.
because it is doing something to you, it's also changing their experience with you. Man, that's deep. Whew.
It was a ripple effect in my house. Like it changed my relationships. It just changed everything for me. And then, of course, once you're introduced to yoga, you take your own journey on which way you want to go.
Yeah.
So I started doing meditation and then I started reading books on Buddhism and I started, practicing all these other things. And then my same yoga instructor years later ended up having a yoga teacher training at another time in my life where I was like, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. I'm going through a divorce. Like, what am I supposed to do with my life now? And I ended
Mhm.
up going to her yoga teacher training. And when I tell you her training was not like a regular yoga teacher training. It was an anti-racist yoga teacher training.
Nice.
So there was a lot of social justice in it.
Good.
But here's the thing. We started this training when number 45 got put in office.
Ooh.
Yeah. So
That's a lot of heavy stuff to have to talk
it was
about and
heavy.
go through.
Right.
Yeah, that was a heavy
Right.
time.
But it was the perfect time because we came in, we were angry. Of course, the sisters was angry.
Yeah.
Some of the other people were like, I don't know what's going on, and she gave us space to talk about that. And then she
Good.
brought up the idea, what if him being voted in means that it changes the world and the way we see things about racism?
Yeah.
And it did.
It did. It completely did. And it's still
It
bleeding
did.
out. Still
It
bleeding out.
still,
Ooh.
still is. But we learned things like she would put on things about Black history and people would start crying in the room. The white folks would start crying. And she would say, you don't get to do that. Like, you have to learn how to not cry at certain times to be able to hold space for what the other people are feeling. So we learned how to hold space for each other. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Then it was just, it was mind blowing. I mean, we had to write an epitaph on our second day of class.
Oof. Oh, she was not playing games with y'all. Like at
None at
all.
all. None. I didn't even know what an epitaph really was. And I'm like, excuse me.
Oh
I'm sorry.
man.
I think I know what you're saying, but I'm not really sure.
That's thorough as hell though, because it's rare to find YTTs, even especially on the 200 level, that will go into social justice like that. So kudos. So like, what's their info? Is she still
Her
teaching?
name is Felicia Lane Savage, and her company is called Yoga Roots on Location.
Thank
She's in
you.
Florida right now,
Okay.
but we were her first cohort that
Nice.
she taught, but she's taught like maybe 5 or 6 so far. She does them like every year, I think, because it's a year program. My good, I'll send you the information too.
Absolutely, yes,
She's
because that is
awesome.
dope,
Yeah, it
man. And then
definitely
you
was.
said it's
Like
a
it
year
changed our lives.
program.
Yeah, it was a year.
I love her. I am obsessed with her right now. I don't even know you, but I love you. Because I'm a fan of longer programs because
Mhm.
there's so much that can be absorbed or that needs
Mhm.
to be absorbed and a lot of self work that needs to happen. And it's hard to fit all of that into six
A
to
couple
eight
months.
weeks.
Yeah.
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 And it's like,
Mhm.
I don't know, because the program I did was almost 6 months
Mhm.
for my 200 hour. And it for my 300, oh gosh, how many months was it? When did we start and when did we end? It felt like a whole year, I swear, but I know it wasn't. Either way, I love a stretched out program because it's just, there's so much information. And
Yeah.
of course, we're never going to learn it all, but
Right.
it's a benefit to give us time to really
Mhm.
understand it, embody it for ourselves, and then be able to go share it because the way this stuff will change you in a heartbeat.
I
You
think
got to be able
everybody
to
who came in,
adjust.
and that's everybody that came in there left differently.
Yep.
I mean, so different. Them intense weekends were intense. You hear me?
Ooh.
It was like we did things like staring in each other's eyes. We had to sit there and look in each other's eyes, eye gazing. It was,
That was hard. That was hard because I'm neurodivergent as well, and eye contact is hard for me.
yeah.
And I'm like, you're asking me to do what?
Like sit right
Okay.
across from you and look like this is weird. And that's what I thought. I'm like, I don't even know her. You like, I don't even know
Yeah.
this. I don't
Like,
know her. You want
you
me
don't
to
know me
stare
and
into
you
her
want me to
soul?
thank you. like and like you mentioned, like I don't know if it's a common thing, but I'm finding that it is. We find YTT when we're going through something.
Hmm.
So I was going through a breakup at the time and possibly relocating to Texas. And there was a lot of transition happening in my life when I did my 200 hour. And to have that exercise going on while I'm like battling all of this stuff inside, and she's just looking at me and I'm looking at her, and like, oh my God, I hope she doesn't see me.
And that's the thing. She seen me. Like, I didn't
Hmm.
know her at all. She just started crying, looking into, and I'm like, okay, I can't look away. We weren't allowed to look away. We weren't allowed to stop or break our gaze. We had to just stare. And
Mm,
I am a big believer, like, eyes are the center to the soul. So
yeah.
I'm like, I'm letting her in into
Yeah.
everything that's going on with me and vice versa. It was like we had a different relationship. Like we go together real bad right now.
It's like once you're able to be that vulnerable with the person, it changes your relationship so much,
Hmm.
so much. But man, that's impactful. Oof, goodness,
Yeah.
yes. I need her program to go worldwide because that is
Yeah.
awesome. Because so much of that stuff is necessary as a yoga instructor. It's like you really do have to have a level of vulnerability to put yourself out there like that and be able to hold space for people. So you understanding your own vulnerability helps you be able to cater to other folks that are, struggling to be as vulnerable as you've now become. So
Absolutely.
it builds that empathy big time.
Absolutely. And it also makes you be able to say, you know what? I don't have what I need to pour into you right now. And it's going to be a
Mm-hmm.
disservice for me to even stand in front of this classroom or interact with this person or whatever the case may be. I just need
Yes.
to check in with myself and take care of me right now so that I don't pour out the unnecessary things that or hurt you, you know?
Preach, because I will sub out in a heartbeat, or I will change the way the class is about to go.
Hmm.
Because if I can't present myself in the way that I know I probably should for that particular class, I'm probably gonna have to refocus or not be there because I don't want to,
Absolutely.
I don't want to be the Debbie Downer in the space and
Right.
just make your experience or take you into my experience because like
Right. Right.
it's
Because
not what
then
I'm
I'm
about.
giving you a class or I'm giving you an interaction that's based around everything that is going on with me instead of honing
Hmm.
into what you really need. So, and
Yep.
even in my life right now, I'm like, I'm resting and I'm not, I don't know what's going on with you, but I can got it to give to you right now. I just can't give it to
At
you.
all, at all. Yeah, because I've taken quite a step back from teaching um, over the last year. Like I taught at a studio for a little while, and then I did some virtual classes for a few weeks last month in January last month, and it was fun. But I realized I'm like, maybe I do just need to test these waters, tested it. I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, I see what works, see what didn't work. I can go back to the drawing board because, of course, I do miss it, but
Yeah.
I'm just not in the space where I can put me or the right me into it.
Right.
And not
Right.
saying that there needs to be a right or wrong you, but there's definitely something that you can tell where it's like I wouldn't be able to be my best self and be of
Right.
service of others. So I'm not going to do
Right.
that to people when I need help myself.
Absolutely. I definitely get it. I took some time off because I usually do like different pop-up events. I had a studio, brick and mortar, before I left Pittsburgh and moved to Texas. And that was like my second, like my fourth baby. Loved it. But having a brick and mortar is expensive if you don't have people coming in and out. Like it's not so when I came back here, I was like, okay, I'll just do rent out space and do pop-up classes or do them in the parks and stuff. And then I was like, you know what, I need to take some time out because I'm doing a little bit too much. So I took
Hmm.
off December until my first class that I'll be teaching is next month. Um,
Nice.
and I'm teaching two classes back to back, and we'll see what happens. But
Yeah,
I've learned that I have to reserve some stuff for myself. Um,
absolutely.
and I'm also not quick to say yes to every opportunity that comes to me.
That part. That
Mm-hmm.
part. There are DMs that
Mm-hmm.
are sitting in my IG that I'm just like, I can't even look at them. And I know I should at least say something, but as soon as I say, hey, I'm interested in like, I don't have it right
Then there's
now.
a whole plethora of things that comes along with it, and you're like,
Yes.
yeah, I wasn't ready for that yet. I don't even know why I
Yeah.
said yes to that. So now
Yeah.
I'm very like, I'll have people say, if you're looking for a teaching job, I got you. And I'm like, it has to align with everything that's going on with me right now. So we'll have to see.
Exactly.
I'm not quick to
Exactly.
say yes, but I'm not quick to say no either. So it's just like a little different couple events here and there. And then like some personal classes. Um, Besides that, I'm just trying to live my best life, my best self, and reserve my energy the best I can.
Amen to that.
Mhm.
Amen
Mhm.
to that. I am with it.
Yeah.
Oof. So I feel like I misspoke. You're from Pittsburgh, but you're currently in Texas?
No, I'm in
Okay.
Pittsburgh. You're correct.
I was gonna
I
say
was
something
in
like
Texas. I moved. So I, I was born and raised in Pittsburgh.
okay.
Started a yoga studio here. Got my YTT here and everything certification. And then I moved to Texas, and then I moved back to Pittsburgh. So now I'm back in
Gotcha.
Pittsburgh. Yeah. Hmm.
Nice. Yeah, because I know I told you previously I'd spent some time in Pittsburgh and I did visit one yoga studio. I can't remember the name of it because that was so many years ago. But it was a nice little vibe. Like I had a very enjoyable little walk there. Like Pittsburgh is really cute.
Say
I
it
like
again, please. Say it louder for people in
it.
the back.
Like Pittsburgh is cute as hell. Like
It is,
I don't know the
especially when
name
you
of
come through
that
the tunnels.
area. What's that?
When you come through the tunnels, that's like the most beautiful thing coming through the tunnels to come into Pittsburgh. It probably was a long time ago. You don't remember.
And I don't even know if I ever got a
You
chance
can't
to
forget
venture
that.
out
So
that
you have to
way.
come back. You have to come
Yeah.
back.
Because like
Um,
I said, we were there for my nephew's surgery, so a lot of our
yeah,
time was spent in the hospital.
yeah.
We would get out, occasionally, especially once he wasn't in the ICU anymore.
Hmm.
But yeah, the areas that
You
I
were
was able to visit.
over.
What's
You
it
were in the
called?
Bloomfield, Garfield, kind of Lawrenceville areas where that is over there now.
Okay. Because I
Yeah.
couldn't remember what it was called. I just know that it had these I don't even know the name of the trees, but they all had blossoms on them at the time because it was like
Hmm.
March, April time. So I'm like, oh, this is so pretty.
I don't know the name of those trees either, girl, and I'm from here, but I know what you're talking about.
Like that was just so cool. And like the wind would blow and some of the petals would fall. I'm like, I just feel like I'm in a fairy princess dream right now, walking around this little cute ass area. And then I found a
Yeah.
little yoga studio one day because I was like, I need this. Because
Yeah.
this whole process was stressful as hell. And, we
Hmm.
were all so worried about the little one. And once he was, doing well and we were kind of closer to the tail end of being there, I'm like, I need a yoga class. I
Yeah.
feel like I can
Yeah.
step away now. And there was one that was just kind of like down the street. So I just walked over there, paid my little drop in, rented my mat, did my thing. And I'm like, y'all have no idea how much I needed this
I
thing.
needed that. Yeah. Yeah. Well, if you ever decide to come back, let me know. I'll tell you some spots to go. Because since you've been
Yes.
here, there's been so many things. Like it's developed so much more
I
than
wouldn't be
than.
surprised. Like 6 years
Hmm.
does a lot to places.
It some places. Some
True.
places.
Yeah, that's definitely a caveat. Some places, because
Yeah.
man, like my hometown in Iowa, it's bigger for Iowa is concerned. It's like one of the major cities. But every time I go there, there's areas of it where I'm like, nothing has changed here. But then there's other places where I'm like, what the hell was that? I don't
Hmm.
remember this at all. Like, what are you guys doing here?
Yeah, since I came back, I have to use my GPS to get everywhere because this is so different now
Oh my
than when I
gosh.
left. There's buildings that were torn down.
Yeah.
There's food places and all these other places. I'm like, oh, I need to get out and walk because I don't even know what's going on over here. But it's a lot, and it reminds me of being in Texas because now, since I was in Texas, I was able to explore
Yeah.
and now I'm like, I'm gonna see if they have that here, and they do. They have some of the same things that they had in Texas. They have the same type of events and things here. So,
Yeah. And that's what I'm realizing too, because I've been playing around with the idea of moving back. And in my mind, I'm like, oh gosh. Because it's just
Yeah,
like, I remember it from being a kid and growing up, and you don't really do much as a kid because what can you do?
right,
You're
right,
a dependent. So I'm like, well,
right.
now that I'm an adult, I've never really actually lived there fully as an adult. And
Mm,
now that I've lived here and seeing all this constant change that's happening all the time, or just all of the things that happen, I'm like, okay, now I know a little bit more about how to seek it out and
yes,
realizing, okay, some of these things are
yes.
there. It wouldn't be too bad if I moved back. But again, introvert like a mofo. And it's like, how much would I actually go? Because what do I do now? Like, even in it's like,
I'm getting a little bit of overthinker too, just a little bit.
I was like, what do I even
Tad.
do now? So, like, why am I worried about it?
You know, I really can feel what you're saying. I get it all. I'm thinking once you decide to make that decision, then you can take it from there. I know I
Exactly.
told myself, I want to experience this city as an adult.
Yeah.
And before I go out and go anywhere else, there's so many things here to experience. I want to experience it all so that I can romanticize my city and my life before I go somewhere else and say, oh, we don't have that because we probably do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because that's a
So,
common question I get when I tell folks I'm from Iowa. What's in Iowa? I'm like, nothing. But I'm like, do I know that for real? Because the most of the time that I spent there, I was a kid in school.
hmm hmm
Like, what
hmm
am I really going to do besides study and hit campus town or something like that?
right,
That's the
right.
extent of it. I haven't lived my life as a full independent adult in this space. So I'm biased unfairly. Like, I should give it some grace.
Right.
Because of
Give it
course
a
there
little
are
bit of
some
grace.
things, right? Of course there's some things, but I don't know. It's something about your hometown where it's just like, yes, there's love there, but there's also that, ooh, I really needed to get away from you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. For me, it was like coming back and then just feeling like it was giving me a hug every time I came here
Yeah.
and not wanting to leave. And the
Mm,
last time I came home, I was like, yeah, it's time for me to come home. Like,
yeah.
it's just time for me to come home. I can't do it anymore. Like, I have to be home. I knew in
Mhm.
my spirit it was time to be here.
Yep. I can
So don't
understand
move
that.
until it's right. Don't move
Yeah.
until it's right.
Exactly, because like I told you, I have my nephew, and now I also have a niece, and I'm like, well,
Mm.
all my siblings have kids now, and I feel like the FOMO auntie, like, hmm, I don't know how I feel about this. I would like to spend some time with those kiddos and
Yeah.
really, develop that bond because
Yes.
I am obsessed with those kids. They are the
Mm.
best, and I'm like, I don't want to miss out on their lives like that. So maybe I should go ahead and consider doing
I think
this.
you're going to be going back home soon. That's
Oh,
what brought me back, my granddaughter. I
yeah.
couldn't keep leaving her, and then my grandmother having dementia, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I need to be here. I need to
Mm-hmm.
be here to see her more often, not just when I come in. And I need to be here with my granddaughter, so I'm building, a bond with her and my children. They're adults, and it was just so many things. And
Yeah.
some relationships had gotten healed that were broken, and I was like, okay,
That,
I could dig it.
yes.
I
Oof.
can dig it.
You're hitting all the nails right on the head. Right on the head.
Wow.
I think we were meant to talk. We were
I
meant to
believe
talk.
so.
Yes.
Wow.
Because
Wow.
I'm about to get real emotional.
Oh,
No, that it's just you said that so beautifully because there's all things that I have thought of as well. Because I do have a grandmother that she's my last living grandparent, and I'm like
mm,
I don't like the fact that I am so far away and not able to spend time with her like that when
yeah.
she's the only one I got left, and
Hmm.
my the rest of my family's all getting older too, and I'm like that's time you can't get back, and
Absolutely.
being so far, it's like, man, that's a challenge. Like,
Hmm.
I'll go back for a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go back, hug on your grandmother, love your grandmother, because mine's also is the last grandmother
Yeah.
that I have alive. And she's one of the ones that named me, gave me my nickname. everything. So when
Same.
I came
That's
back,
my bestie.
yes, that is my girl. Like, how you doing today? You trying to go out? You know, she's
Right?
looking at me like, what?
Yep, we have our twice weekly calls, and she texts me
Yeah.
all the time, and I'll be texting her
Hmm.
back. Like somebody done told her about emojis, and I'm like, yes, Nana, yes. I am here for it. I love
Oh
it. I
yeah.
love getting text messages from her.
Yeah, there's something, it's just something about that relationship with your grandmother that
Mhm.
it expands across just different territories. So
Oh
when I
yeah.
seen her and I came back and I was like, it's time for me to come back. Like I can't.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
hmm.
That last trip home was definitely the one where I'm like, yep, I'm gonna have to do this. I'm
Hmm.
gonna have to do this. I think this is the first time I've really talked about this publicly.
Wow.
Yeah, because I've been toying around with it for a while. So yeah, it's happening sooner than later.
Okay. Okay. I
Yeah,
love it. I'm here for it.
it's
Yeah, I believe we really were supposed to. I was supposed to be the last episode of the season. So for the next new one, it'll be a whole different transition
a
for you.
whole new setting.
Yes. Everything will be different. So that's
Everything's gonna
great.
be so different. Yes. So I love the way that fate works out. And yes, this has already been just like such a fulfilling conversation. And I'm eager to take some classes from you because
Oh,
I love your aura.
thank
It's
you.
so calming. So the fact that you said that at some point you were up here, I'm like, I don't believe you.
That's what everybody says.
Like you lying to me because
I've done a lot of work over the years. A lot of work.
look, I feel you. I feel you because a lot of folks will say like, I like when they see me in more like of the yogic space, they're like, I love your energy. It's so calm, but you're so energetic. And I'm like, I'm hyperactive as hell. And I'm not necessarily suppressing this, but I've learned how to navigate those spaces where I know where I'm feeling that energy and how to exert it properly so that I'm
Yes.
not
Yeah.
overwhelming myself or overwhelming
Yeah.
other people. Like, wow. And I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of work
Mhm.
done. A lot of
Mhm.
work done
That.
because there's a lot of chaos in this little body. There's a lot of chaos in this little body, but I've done a lot of work to be able to not portray it out as much as I used to. Because,
Yeah. Yeah. Listen. I say I'm a spiritual gangster now because before
I love that. Yes.
I was just a like like rah rah like what you ready to go? We could do this. Now I'm like I don't have time for this.
This is a conversation that comes up a lot too is yoga teaching us the difference between a response and reaction.
Yes.
And I'm like, I would much rather respond than
Yes.
react because my reaction is volatile and too much. My
Hmm.
response is a little bit more logical, a little bit more thoughtful, a little bit more intentional, and better to, or at least with more ahimsa in mind.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because
That's a good
otherwise,
way to put it.
yeah, otherwise there is no kindness. There is none of that in it. And it's just like, nope, pull it back,
Yep.
think about it, and now
Yep.
respond. And
Mine is yoga and therapy with
yes,
a lot of therapy
look, folks, both of them need to be joined together.
together.
Like,
Yes, you can't have one without the other, honestly,
no.
for real.
Oh my goodness, because I'm loving the fact that there are so many therapy spaces that are integrating yoga into a lot of their
Yes.
offerings.
Yes.
Someone that I've befriended now, but she was on the live versions and she also was on season one as a podcast. She's been working with a therapist and doing kind of like yoga therapy kind of things, but it's in conjunction with the things that those patients are doing with their therapist. They'll also
Yes.
do the yoga things. And I'm like, oh, that changed the game. Because
Yes, it does.
once you do both, oh my gosh, it's like
Yes.
the secret sauce of unlocking all of the healing.
It's like the homework that they
Yes.
give you when it's like you're doing the physical practice of the homework that they say, I'm gonna
Yeah.
give you some homework to go home. instead of you just trying to be like, well, what am I supposed to do next? It's
Oh
that the
yeah.
yoga is the missing piece to that.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And because this is something that's come up a lot this season too, is about talking about how yoga really gets us connected to our bodies, because so many of
Mm.
us are so disconnected to our physical selves
Yep.
that getting into the asana practice really teaches us how to feel, like, and not just like on a physical level, but something deeper too, and that starts unlocking even more that you can now work through in therapy. Because
Yep.
the way I
You're
did
gonna
not
have to.
realize, exactly, I did not realize my body was storing up so much stuff. And I was also
Mm.
doing EMDR. I don't know if you're familiar with
Mm.
that technique,
Mm-hmm.
but that coupled with yoga, I was like, okay, this might be intense, but it was because I was holding so much in that now it's all coming out and feeling overwhelming, but I'm being supported by my therapist, by,
Yes.
my yoga studio and community
Right.
that I've become or going to build, my friends, my family. I have these networks now. Man,
And you have words for these things that you're feeling now. You know what I mean?
yes.
Like any other time, it's like, I don't even know what's happening right now. But now you have the proper words to go with what you're feeling and how to deal with those. And you also have techniques to help you through that. Because when you release that tension and emotions that you've had stored in your body for so long, like, I don't think people understand how long emotions can be stored in your body and what it causes.
Oh,
The disease is the dis-ease
this
that you're
ease,
feeling in
exactly.
your body.
Exactly. Oh my goodness. And
Hmm.
I don't know, have you also felt this? Like, do you feel the best you felt physically, like as far as like wellness is concerned, after going through all of that healing and the physical work, the mental work, the spiritual work? Is it all kind of feeling like a very well-rounded kind of a thing for you?
Let me tell you, I can't even put a word with it, but I tell my sister all the time, like, I feel like I am living the best version of my life right now, all the way around. Because once you go through healing and you really sit down and do the work with the healing,
Hmm.
and then you add on the meditation and everything, yes, I feel my best self right now. Like,
Nice.
I can't even, I wish everybody
Uh,
could feel like this.
it's such a beautiful feeling.
Yeah.
Such a beautiful feeling. And I wouldn't trade it for the world. Now it's
Hmm.
why I'm like, yeah, I'm teaching and I'm stuck with it because I want everybody to feel like this, because the world would be so much better if we all did this work for ourselves. Because
Listen, that's how I feel. That's that's exactly how I feel. Like, and honestly, I feel like as yoga instructors, I feel like we don't just always teach while we're in that room, right?
no.
We're teaching our friends when we're sitting at tables. We're teaching our sisters. We're doing it with interactions with people all around. So
Hmm.
it's a ripple effect everywhere, you
Yeah.
know? I'm just one person at a time. That's how we do it.
Yes, indeed. One at a time.
Hmm.
Oof. So that brings me into my question about, it's pronounced Akimat.
Acumat.
Akimat.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's
tell
my
me a
name
little bit
spelled
more.
backwards.
Yeah, tell me a little bit more about that and what you offer and how it all started.
So after I got my 200-hour certification, um, I wasn't even sure if I really wanted to teach, but I was like, okay, we're going to see what happens. And my ex at that time had found a studio, and he was like, this would be the perfect place. And I was like, well, I need a name. Like, I don't know what I can't just open up a business and I don't
Right.
know what to call it. And so he said my name backwards, and I was like, say it again. And I was like, that's going to be the name of it. And I had to go look up what Aki meant in different languages because I wanted it to actually mean something besides just my name backwards.
Yeah.
So I believe in Japanese, Aki means clarity. Um, yeah, so that's what I made it, clarity on and off the mat. So that's what Aki mat is stands for.
I love that.
Yeah, yeah. And then Akimat was born, and I opened up my studio, and I've been teaching ever since.
Man, that's dope as hell.
Yeah.
I
Thank
love
you.
a good origin story. That's so cool.
Yeah.
And I love that there
Yeah.
was like, that was very intentional. And again, kind of a fate kind of a thing where something that poignant comes from your name spelled backwards.
hmm And I never would have looked up that. Like, that's
Yeah.
not something I would have been like, let me go see. But when he said it, it sounds so nice. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, let me
Maybe
go
we
see.
going somewhere with this.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, we're going somewhere with this. And let me go see what this means. So, yeah, clarity.
Awesome.
And then I went on to take a couple more certifications. I don't even know how many I have now, what hours I'm at this point. Um, you
Look,
know.
we got to ballpark it at some point because, like, I've been taking so many workshops and CEUs
Yes,
and
I'm to the point where like I'm interested in somatic yoga, but I'm like I'm not taking another training. I'm just not doing it. I'll read up on it. I'll take a couple classes. I'll see if I can incorporate it in because I
yeah,
really feel like it's yin and hatha mixed together and some sensual movements, and you're holding
yeah.
it just a little bit more. But I went on to do it was yoga for all bodies because I really wanted to learn how to teach people who are in different types of bodies.
hmm
I feel like I go into a lot of classes, and especially for women, big breasted women, they don't know how to hold those down with a strap while you're doing certain things
Yeah.
or all of those type of things, and the language to use. Um, then I took yin and prenatal, and I think I took a couple other ones, but I just wanted to make sure that when I teach, well, one, because I didn't feel like I was good enough, right? 200 hour, you're like, okay, I went to this dope YTT, I learned
Yeah.
all of these things, but am I good enough to really be out here teaching? So let me get some more certifications under my belt. Um,
hmm
but now I'm to the point where I don't even tell people I have all these certifications. It's just like,
No,
they're
I
like, what do
feel
you?
you. I feel you because people ask, and I'll be like, I don't know. Like,
I
I'll
just
at
teach
least give them
yoga.
like the 500 just as the basic generic answer. But I'm
Yeah,
like, but I've taken rocket certifications, all these different CEUs, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. And if I sat and counted, it'd be probably close to somewhere close to 1,000 hours of
yes,
training
yes.
somewhere because I'm a nerd. Like
I just
I
love
like to
learning.
learn.
Yes,
Exactly. But
yes.
and I can relate to what you're talking about because like you can be in the dopest 200 hour, but it's still only 200 hours of a century's old practice. Like
Right,
then like
right.
feeling inadequate is gonna be kind of, I don't want to say inevitable, but I wouldn't be surprised if you feel that way because it's intimidating to be like, this
It's
is something that
very,
predates me like a mofo. And now I have to get up here and teach this to people that are expecting this, experience. And I'm like, am I
say that
qualified?
again.
Like,
Right.
yes. So it's definitely very enticing to, take these trainings, but I think it's beneficial to do that because you should always be sharpening your tools.
Absolutely.
Always, because that's how you
Because it's
keep.
always evolving.
Exactly, that's how it evolves. That's how you understand how you evolve in it too. And it may just make you so much more of a well-rounded instructor because you're
hmm
actually able to teach to everyone based
Right.
on what it is that they need. So,
Right.
yes, I love that you
Right.
have that going on. Like, keep doing that.
Thank
Don't
you.
ever
I
stop learning.
appreciate
Yes.
it. Thank you so
So I
much.
always say to people,
Yeah.
like, don't ever stop learning. Don't ever stop getting
Yeah.
curious. Just keep doing that so that way you keep the energy going in you. Keep your, like I said, keep your edge and just make that experience dope as hell for you too.
I always say what I've always said is I'm always a student.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even though I'm an instructor, I'm going to always be a student because
Exactly.
there's always so much to learn. Like, I could never go into a class and be like, oh, I already know that. I'm going to learn something anybody's class I go into. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So I'm always going to be a student.
1,000%. Yep. Because even right now, I'm like, I'm pulling away from the teacher and being the student more. And
Mm,
even if it's, me doing more self-taught things or just self-study. That's more of what I'm doing. It's more of a self-study because I'm
Yes, you
really
are.
into my yamas and niyamas right now.
Yes.
And I'm like, I need to focus on these more so that I can really get back to it, because once you take that pause and lose it, you can start losing some of yourself. And I'm like,
Ooh,
I gotta get back.
talk about it. Talk
Get back.
about it. Like that is so true. That's so true. And I think a lot of people need to just really take a step back sometimes and just remember that we do need to self-study for a certain
Mhm.
amount of time and take time out for ourselves. And it's okay. Like that's part of self-care, right?
Yep.
That's part of taking care of yourself. So I can dig it. I'm right there with you.
Oh man. I am loving this conversation so much. Oh my goodness. This has been fabulous. I've got a little bit of goosebumps going on. Because before I told you I was hot, right? And I'm like, now I'm like,
Yes.
whew, I got chills. Oh my goodness. So, okay. So how long has Akimat been going on for you?
When did I start? I would say it's about 6 years ago, or
Nice.
maybe a little longer. Yeah, yeah. It was a scary thing jumping into it, right? Like I said, like
Yeah.
I'm a business owner now. I've never, like, I never ran a business, and now I'm doing a yoga business. Like, what am I supposed to do here? I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
That's more intimidating than teaching. 'Cause
Girl, I did things I've never done before. Like I built a website. Like
Ooh,
before I knew there was like all this other, I'm building and putting all this stuff in here. I didn't know I could do that, but that's the part of me that's saying you can do anything that you put your mind to.
oh yeah,
I'm doing that. I'm trying to get like a price sheet. Like where do I do that? Like there's so many things I learned about entrepreneurship and running a yoga business, and I'm
man,
still learning, right?
never stops,
It
never
never
stops.
ever stops. And there's no book that says these are the right ways to run a yoga business. Like there's a whole lot of workshops and webinars that can tell you things that you should do, how to do all these things, and then throw social media on top of it, baby.
Oh,
There's not enough time in the day.
don't get me started on social media.
Can we just go back to word of mouth? Like her class is really nice, and you should go to it because
Man, because the way that I battle with my relationship with social media, it's just I never know what to do. So like when I started this, it was all from just my personal social media page. And I would just go on live and talk to people for about an hour or whatever. And we would just, shoot the shit about yoga and,
yeah,
teaching or, letting them share their stories about, how they got started with it and, what inspired them to teach and whatever. And of course, we were kind of more centered around race and how that affected the climate of things and our experience in yoga. And that still does occur. But once I realized, I'm like, this is becoming something bigger than me, and I need to separate me from this. I created its own page, but then I'm like, oh shit, now I'm a content creator.
mm-hmm. That part.
I
Like,
don't know what to
when
do.
did I become that? Especially being an introvert. Like, so I got to put myself out there and film myself and do all these other things.
Yeah, and that's what I was struggling with, because I was, kind of trying to do that for myself. Like I started a YouTube channel and everything, and it was just to a point where I'm like, I don't even know what the direction is with this, and I don't know what I'm doing. So it just kind of fell apart. But once I started this, it kind of gave me more of a pointed focus where I'm like, okay, you're allowing other people to tell their stories. This ain't even about you
Mm-hmm.
anymore. So I'm like,
Mm.
okay, it feels a little bit better, but then I'm still just like, damn it, social media, why are you so demanding?
Yes,
Like,
yes, yes.
why does it have to be this or that in order for people to engage with it? And it's like so many working parts to think of. And I'm like, kudos to anybody that is a content creator, influencer, any of that. That's, social media is their business. Like,
Shout out to
I'm
y'all
proud of
because
you, but I can't
it's
do
more
it.
work. I be on Canva like, okay, I don't have time for all of this. Then I tried to do the YouTube thing. I set everything up, and then I was like, what am I supposed to be? Like, I gotta sit in front of this camera and then talk and make sure all of this right. And then I gotta go edit this.
That's the
I'm, I didn't go to school for this. This is not what I wanted to do. Like, edit
exactly
this. That takes hours out of your day. So
so much time.
I'm like, people are like, are you going to offer online classes? So I did do that for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I don't really like the way this feels.
I'm going to tell you the secret to that. And because this is some of my trial and error that I've run through the years of trying to figure out how to have some type of virtual presence. Teach the class live and record it.
Mm.
And then just upload that. Don't edit it,
Oh.
nothing. Just because, and that's a lot of what I do here. Because that's why I'm like, I just want to have an authentic conversation where we're just talking and people can see this genuine thing that they can connect with and post it. That's it. Like, it made
you
it.
just gave me the keys to the car.
Like, it made it so much easier for myself because I'm like, okay, I'm overthinking this too much because it's like, what about the lighting? What's this? And what kind of class am I going to teach? And blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, just have a live class, invite people in. And I like to check and see, like, what do you guys want to do today? Do you want to do something a little bit more vinyasa? Do you want to do something a little bit more hatha? Do you want to do something more yin? Like, what do you want? Like, what's the energy of the room? And then once I'm able to tap into that, I'm more myself and able to just teach without being so in my head about, does this look right? Is this or did I mention that posture? I don't know. Like, it's just, it was too much. So I'm like, let it be what it is.
That is good. Because I'm like, does my background look right? Is it this? Like the lighting, all of these things. But then the other day, I'm like, if you're just going to be doing yoga and hear about yourself, like you said, just record it and just upload it and make it an offering, or if I'm teaching a class at an event, that can be. But that's, girl, I love it. We needed each other.
Yeah.
We needed each other.
I'm with it. Yes. Oh my goodness.
So look for Akimat to be uploading some classes soon.
I'm here for it because I'm over here like, let me take notes of when that's happening. Goodness gracious.
Sooner than later, for sure.
Yes, no, like that was the secret sauce to breaking the barrier that social media was having on me. Is like, how can I just make it simple for myself where I'm still able to be me and be able to build organic connection with folks and not necessarily feel like I'm doing something that's outside of who I am. Because some of the other stuff that I was trying, I'm like, this feels weird. Like, I look back at my old videos and I think I've like archived a lot of stuff that was on my YouTube channel because I was doing hair videos, I was doing makeup, I was doing some yoga stuff. And then I was just like, or just talking about mental health. And there were just so many times where I'm like, what was that?
Yeah, there's too much. There's way too much going on here. What's going on? Like, even though we love all of those things, and that's sometimes
it's gross.
What I like when I'm posting content, it's like, what am I supposed to post today? Like, I don't want the whole page to be yoga, but this is my yoga page. But there's other things that I do outside of yoga.
Exactly.
So, should I post what I did today as a yoga instructor, but not teaching yoga? So
and what's weird is that's one of my most popular videos, like Day in the Life of a Yoga Teacher. And I filmed that back in like 2019.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Weird.
I think when you're an overthinker, we just put too much thought into it sometimes. And maybe we just need to just put it out there. But, as an introvert, I'm like, I don't want some people really in my life like that. Like,
it's like that eye-gazing thing. It's like you're now sitting into this point where you have no choice but to have people looking into parts of your soul, and you're just like, I can't look away. They're not looking away.
And they're like, give me more. Some people are like, give me more. And I'm like, I don't have anything else to give. I cut the line right there. I draw the line. That's it.
Exactly.
That's it.
Oh my God. No, it's
so a lot of, go ahead.
No, go for it.
A lot of things that I've been posting right now, because I said my commitment to myself is to be more physical this year. I've been posting events that happen all over outside of just what I'm doing. Like,
Nice.
and I think it's more of a follow me through my fitness journey as a yoga instructor type because that's what's resonating with me right now.
Yeah.
And, I made a post that even though I'm a yoga instructor, I'm not always physical. And,
Mhm.
I just need to get back into it. So follow me. And then I've been having a lot of people who want to come to these different workout classes, not just, yoga. And I
Yeah.
really dig that. Like, it's because it's really me being
Mhm.
authentic. Let's go work out together. Let's get these bodies right together. It doesn't have to be my class. I just want to see everybody healthy.
Yes. No.
So,
I'm glad you mentioned that authenticity part because I think that's something that a lot of social media is missing. But
ugh,
people are trying to curate authenticity, but not actually being authentic. And I'm like, just be it. And I think it
oof.
sounds easy, but because we get, of course, that overthinking, you get in your head, and it's like, people are going to like this. Da, 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 da. And I'm like, somebody's going to.
Somebody's going to. Your
Yeah,
people will like it. The
exactly.
people who want to be part of that, they will like it. That's what I had to tell myself, even about teaching classes. Like, for a while, I was teaching like I was taught, right? Like, so
Hmm.
I was teaching like, and I sounded just like my yoga teacher who trained me. And I'm like, this is not you. Like, you have to step away for a minute and find out what is really you
Hmm.
showing up in these classes to teach. So now I'm not the yoga instructor that's going to be like, go ahead and move forward, ground in. That's not me. I
No,
can't do
me neither.
that.
Like I'm gonna talk to you like this, and
We're going to talk. And
exactly.
another thing we're going to do is one thing that it really burns my biscuits is when I go into a yoga class and nobody speaks to each other when you come in.
Oh yeah. Or they don't laugh. I'm like, I say dumb shit. Laugh
Me
at
too.
me. Like I'm laughing too. Like it's okay.
Like, why are we so serious in here? Like, I
Like
understand there's a time for that, but can I have a question?
I
Is
be
my foot
cracking
supposed to be
jokes.
like this? Like, I'm doing all of those things. Ask me questions because
Yes. I
you want
love a
to
workshop
know.
moment.
Yeah. Like, this is not, and I always try to tell people, like, this is your class. I'm just here to guide you through your body. So
Thank you.
ask me all the questions you want to ask. If you want to laugh, baby, laugh. Let's just have fun in here because it's too
Exactly.
serious already other places. We're coming in here to have a good time.
I love it. I love it. Yep. I love me a good little kiki because I don't know what is my issue, but I'm random and I the things that pop into my head, I might say them. So I'm like, you
Yeah.
know what? If something reminded me of something like, let me tell you about this time. Or some type of like weird little joke about a cue or something. And it's like, I expect you to laugh a little bit. And it's also going to help you feel something a little bit differently
Right.
associated with this posture or this experience or whatever. Because, yes, we can get into some deep shit if we wanted to. But I also need you to understand that there's some joy in it too.
Right.
Like, be in the
Right.
moment. Be in this moment. In this moment, somebody said something funny. If you thought it was
Right.
funny too, laugh at it.
Or put a smile on your face. Like, we don't have to be like so serious all the time. Like,
Yeah.
just smile through the pose. That might make you feel a whole lot different. Just smile. Just put a smile on your face. It's gonna be all right. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And I also think that laughter is the secret to unlocking one of the bandhas.
Oh,
So I'm like, yep, go ahead and get into that.
yeah.
Get into that
That's
good Udiana
good.
bandha, that good little belly laugh.
Yeah. Hmm. And I'm good for that all the time. Like, I love a good laughter time. Have you ever gone to a yoga class where they do that, where they just laugh?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
How was it?
It's fun because again, I am so unserious. So I appreciate a class where it's just like we are goofing off half the time. Like, yes, give me more of that because
Yeah.
like though yes I crave structure sometimes, but there are moments where I'm just like I just want to explore something, play around with something, and if we're having a fun moment, let's just lean into that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So of
Yeah.
course, yes, I love those moments. Big
Love
time.
it.
Yes. I cannot believe we're at the end of our time.
Oh
I
man. I
know.
could sit here and talk to you for hours
I
and
know.
hours.
And I keep thinking, I'm like, I have to get everybody back here. We're gonna have something because actually Takima, she gave me the idea to like give everybody in on like a panel party so we can all just like shoot the
Oh,
shit and have some fun. So that may be coming maybe next season. Ooh,
that'll be dope.
that would be
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Either way, I still wanted to get your input on advice that you would give to folks that are just starting out in yoga. They've never done it before, kind of on the fence about it. What would you say to those individuals that are just kind of like, I just don't know, but I want to?
I always tell people to start out with a practice at home first. Like find different videos or something that you want to just try
Mhm.
and at home by yourself before you venture out to a yoga studio. And then when you finally do venture out to a yoga studio, um, go with how you feel about going into that yoga studio. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
have to show up as your full self and check around different places. Don't just go to that one studio and say I didn't like it and never go back. You have to go to different ones until you find your place where your energy, where you feel good.
Yes. Class pass will be your friend in that
Yes,
instance.
class pass will be your friend.
Yes.
Don't go in there eager and say I'm going to buy a yearly membership because you might not gem with what's going on in there.
Exactly. Test the waters everywhere you go.
Test it. And test
Absolutely.
out if they have like 10 different instructors, try the different instructors.
Exactly. Because again, that's why this exists. Because I want y'all to
Hmm.
be able to see and understand the energy of all of the different instructors that are out there in the world. Like that same thing goes for in your local space. Like test them out, check them out, see what you feel. Because not every teacher is going to gel with you. And there's nothing wrong with
Absolutely.
that.
And that's just like that in a therapist.
Thank you.
Not every therapist is going to be your therapist. You might have to go check around a couple of times, and that's all right.
Exactly. Oof, those are good gems. And then, same question, but instead of new people to yoga, people that have already been practicing but are getting called to teach, what advice would you give them?
Make sure that you show up as your authentic self whenever you go into these spaces and don't water yourself down.
Mm.
Shine.
Mm.
And whoever don't like it can put some sunglasses on. It's going to be all right.
Say that again.
Like
Ooh,
it. Yes.
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 Okay,
Uh,
I'm seeing that fire. Yeah, okay. Like, yes. Ooh, make them put the Ray-Bans on.
That's right.
Yes.
Get the darkest ones you can find, baby, because I'm going to keep shining. That's just
Exactly.
how it goes.
Or was it? There's an eclipse coming soon. Just go ahead and get you them eclipse glasses so you can handle
Mm-hmm.
it.
Because you're going to need them. You're going to need them. We taking up all this space over here, okay? All
Yes.
of it.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Uh, Tamika, this has been everything I could ask for.
Oh,
Like
I
everything I
enjoyed
could
it.
ask for. I really appreciate you and getting this opportunity to get to know you a little bit more.
Thank
Um,
you.
Tell the folks where we can find you.
So on Instagram it's Akimat Yoga at whatever Akimat Yoga. It's the same for Facebook. Or you can go to my website, akimatyoga.com. And that's where you can find me.
Awesome. Do you have anything that you want to plug before we end up or end this?
Yes, I will be having two events in April here in Pittsburgh. One is a Beyonce drop sound,
Okay.
and then the other one is just going to be like a 90s R&B drop sound. It's a safe space for Black bodies, but a safe space for all bodies. One is at Bakery Square, and the other one is going to be in the terminal downtown Pittsburgh.
Yes. So send me those so I can make sure to get them posted in the stories and stuff.
Okay, I'll definitely send them to
Yes.
you. Yes.
I'm so excited for you. Oh
Thank
my
you. Thank you for
goodness.
having me. Thank you for this opportunity.
You're so
I
welcome.
really appreciate talking to you. Thank you for feeling safe enough to share some of your and things that are going on with you, with me, so, and with
Oh,
the rest of everybody else.
oh, thank
So,
you for receiving. I really appreciate it. I really do.
absolutely,
Oh,
absolutely.
y'all, parting is such sweet sorrow, but we'll be back. As always,
Yes.
I'm this thing ain't going nowhere. But unfortunately, yes, this is the last new episode for this season. But make sure you're staying in touch. We're on Instagram, Yoga in Black or yoga.inblack, and Facebook, Yoga in Black, website, yogainblack.net. YouTube, all the places, get all the episodes. And literally, this is like, what is this, the 57th episode? Something like that?
Wow.
I don't know. I don't remember. I can't count. But
we're not counting.
Right. Tune in is all I'm going to say. Tune in.
Right.
We'll be back. And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much. Love you. Love you. Thanks for tuning in to this season of the Yoga in Black podcast. I would love to get your feedback. So if you'd like to see more of the show, please leave us a comment or a rating on whichever platform you're listening or watching from today. Of course, that's right after you subscribe to wherever it is that you're listening or watching from. New episodes will return by late summer or early fall of 2024. Be sure to follow us on social media. Find us on Instagram at yoga.inblack, Facebook, Yoga in Black, and TikTok at yoga.in.black. Also, head to our website, www.yogainblack.net, for all of your YIB needs. And if you'd like to be on the show, head to that same website, fill out our waitlist form on the website, and click on Let's Talk from the menu to fill it all out. Thank you so much for all of your support.